thank you. All right, there we go. We are live. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Champions, Charlie Lay. Really cool to have you on, man. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for the invitation.
And how have you been keeping since Worlds in Sun City when I endeared myself to the Canadian families back home by having day
Yeah,
one of Masters? Not go out, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I
it,
believe I still get letters of warning. I'm trying to come out for Commonwealth next year, and they say like the visa denied, visa denied. No, just kidding.
oh, jeez. Are you trying to come out for Commonwealths to do
Yeah,
Commonwealths?
I want to come out for Commonwealth, do some announcing. Maybe we can do some of the live streaming and the photography. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be awesome.
That would be cool. I'm trying
Yeah.
to get to go there, but then of course I have to make the team first. But yeah,
Okay.
the year has been
Yeah.
good. It's been a typical year. It's uh, no big changes in my health. I mean, I had
Yep.
you didn't know it, but when I was at Worlds and Commonwealths last year, I actually had before just about a year before I contracted Meniere's disease, which is a causes vertigo and
Oh wow.
nausea
Okay.
and balance. So it's I had I had the benefit of having a very thoughtful teammate who traveled with me and was well apprised of what to do if I started to
Okay.
spin out. I mean, literally
Wow.
spin out. It was just, oh yeah, it
Wow.
was. I was so scared. Uh, Knowing that I had like a 36-hour travel time and not knowing when I could not be able to move
Mm-mm.
because I can't. I don't know if you've ever had vertigo, but it's a pretty scary. Like,
Sure.
open your eyes and you empty your stomach. It's not a happy thing. But
Yeah.
no, it's been a good year. The training after we got back, I started prepping for Canadian Nationals, which was in February, and
Mm-hmm.
and
I
that
heard
was
that
a
was
that was
absolutely epic. The walking
it
into the venue, the setup was amazing.
it they those people know how to put on a meet. I mean, it it rivaled what we had seen in South Africa.
Wow.
It was almost an identical type setup as far as having the division with the screen and the people
Mm-mm.
out front but yeah, no, it was they thought of everything. I mean, down to having a microwave there for people to heat up their food after weigh-in, and it yeah, you don't think
Wow.
about these things,
You don't
but
think
they
about
do.
that. That's
They're,
brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, it's they're both lifters. And
Yeah.
matter of fact, the gentleman that's involved in that, he actually wrote the software that we use for running a lot of the meets,
Oh
PL
wow.
Meet.
Okay.
And so yeah, no, it was
And they
and it
run
was.
SBD as well, so they're really connected to the sport.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
are they are the
The
SBD
SPD
dealers for
Canada guys,
Canada.
yeah.
Yeah, so no, the Rhea Stint is the
Mm.
one. I can't remember her husband's name, but the guy that wrote the software. But yeah, no, it was good. And then that was right after I got home. I mean, I literally, like you, I switched suitcases and then headed to Cuba uh,
Oh,
for a couple of weeks,
okay.
and had to sacrifice and sit in the sun, and it
Any
was hard. But
cigars? Was that part of the trip?
no,
Okay.
that was not part of the trip. I'm one of these anomalies that maybe I might have drank a little bit too much as a teenager and don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
So,
Don't worry,
so
that
I
was
go
my
to
job.
yeah, I
I
go,
mean,
I go
yeah,
to Cuba,
yeah.
and I yeah, I say I go to Cuba, but I don't drink, and they look at me funny, like, why are you here if you don't drink?
Yeah, 100%. Well, no, that's easy to do. Will you give me 1 second? Never done this live on a podcast before, but it just started to come down and I have to close the windows. Will you give me 1 moment? I'll be back in a
Sure.
sec. Guys, bear with us, please. We got a couple of people watching. I'm coming back now. I felt thunderstorm. Well,
Yeah, it's more likely to be snowing here than raining that time of year for us here in Canada. I think right now it's 0 degrees Celsius outside.
to check, guys. Sorry, Charlie. Oh, that was funny. Yeah, Johannesburg is renowned for its afternoon thunderstorms, which as a kid, it was always great growing up because you knew how long you'd have in the weekend in the swimming pool when you were at a family braai or barbecue. And then it would rain for a couple of minutes, 20, 30 minutes, big downpour, and then you could
Then
go
you're
back
back.
out and play. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
you were in
we our
Cuba. Yep. Sorry.
yes, yeah, we try to get down there about twice a year.
Mm.
About 10, 12 years ago, we've been going there for about 20 years, and
Oh, wow.
about 10
Okay.
years ago, 10 years ago, we met a couple from the other side of Canada in British Columbia and struck up a friendship. So now we get together twice a year down in Cuba and just hang out,
Sure. That's
sit in the
that,
sun.
yeah. That's been a bucket list for me because sort of even pre-Castro's death, with the freezing in time almost as it was because of the embargo, and to
Yeah,
go and see that, and then I thought, okay, would it be too commercial once Castro passed it? Maybe there'd be a change in regime, but I believe it's still very, very similar to what it was like.
it's very similar, and sadly, they Cuba had a lot of partners
Mm,
outside of America. Canada's one, but the trading partners and originally were Russia, and Venezuela was a big one, and Spain, and well, Russia is clearly not a big trading partner anymore due to the problems they're having.
mm, mm.
And Argentina is having, and Venezuela are having their own issues. So right now, Cuba is in bad shape. They
Okay.
are struggling for food. They're struggling uh, for petrol, and uh, and their infrastructure is failing.
Mm-hmm.
There's frequent power outages. Some of the people that work at the resorts report to me that they go without power for a day or two at a
Okay.
time.
Wow. Wow.
And so it's now the resorts, they have their own generators,
Mm.
which is great as long as they can get
The fuel.
petrol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You're talking to a South African, so we know all
yeah,
too well. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. A friend of
Sure.
mine recently, a coworker, she lives in
Mm.
Cairo now, up north of you, and
Mm-hmm.
she says they have rolling power outages, which surprised me.
Right.
That's a big thing.
Gee
But
whiz.
yeah, no, but the people are resilient, and but it is frozen in time. You see the old cars, and boy, those people have a lot of ingenuity.
Mm.
Some of those old cars are running boat motors now because
Gee whiz.
they have to run them on diesel.
Okay.
Gasoline is more difficult to find.
Mm.
Diesel is common. So some of those old cars, they actually take motors out of boats and
That's
drop them in.
incredible. It
Yeah,
unbelievable. You know, we call it in South Africa township ingenuity, where
yeah,
it's, fixing stuff with the pantyhose, a coat hanger, and some chewing gum. You know,
yeah.
and it's
Yes.
amazing to see. So Cuba is a place you'd recommend going to.
Oh, I would, but
Mm.
don't go there expecting, the foods that you get at home.
Yeah.
Um, some of the resorts are good. The one that we were just at, it was Amelia Resort, and the food was pretty good and good portions. The one that we normally go to is a Valentin, and it's suffering because it doesn't
Mm.
get a lot of people, so they don't have a
Okay.
lot of money to. So, but if you're going there to hang with your friends and drink alcohol and sit on the beach, 100% go to Cuba.
Fantastic.
Take a trip, go see where they make cigars,
Yeah.
take a trip into Havana and see all the places where the Americans used to hang out and the mobsters hung out. And uh, they have one of the largest cemeteries. It's so big, you can actually see it on Google Earth.
No ways.
Yeah, it
Wow.
is massive. It's absolutely massive. And it's an interesting place to visit. So yes, it's if you have the chance, take
Okay,
a dip
no,
down.
yeah, absolutely. I think something that hopefully we'll be planning for next year. There's a friend of mine has to go to the States. So we want to stop off. I love my cigars, and not a massive cigar smoker, but it's like with good friends, maybe every 3 weeks to 2 months type of thing. But there's a chain of, well, a manufacturer that we like, that's based in Florida, called Karen Burger. They made it in the Dominican Republic. But for me, I love, my Romeo and Julietas. I love that. So then Cuba is definitely on the
Hmm.
bucket list to go and see how they made. And then also, like, I want to go like to Hemingway's bar and
Yeah,
learn to dance. You know, what's the tango, and experience that side of it and that side of the culture. And I think,
yeah,
you know, tourism can also be a responsibility where you're going to support the communities.
yeah. And we've been to those
Mm.
places, and the
Yeah,
Tropicana is
yeah,
another place in
the
Havana you need to
hotel.
go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, I would love to see Worlds or NAPF being held in Cuba. It would,
Wow. Yeah.
I think that that would be a big boost for them if it was, possible to do that, but not yet.
I'm going to chat to Hani because
Yeah,
we and it just reminded me now that I've forgotten to send him an email, but I'll do that quickly. You know, I think it would be, you know, the guys can put on events, so you can have multiple guys working together to host the event. I think that would be incredible. And I was chatting to the US coach. And Jim Brown, and saying, you know, like I've done three or four, well, five events now, and in the last in the last 2 months, and I didn't go outside once from the time the event started because when you're in the
jeez,
hotel, you know, you don't get out. You go room,
yeah,
breakfast, venue, back and back up. I suppose that was one of the fun things with Sun City. At least you got to sit outside a little bit at breakfast and walk down to the venue. But Cape Town, it was great. There was a big lounge, so there was a huge lounge right by the Wayne area. So everyone sort of congregated there, and it became really social, which was great, and was next to the restaurant. But yeah, fun. So speaking about that, what was I mean, Cape Town, obviously, excuse me, Sun City was a bit of a challenge arriving with the vertigo. But what was the setup like for you? What was Sun City like as a venue, and also what was it like being there with the Canadian team? Because what an amazing team!
it. This is my first off. Sun City is amazing.
Mm, mm,
Africa is much like Cuba in respect to
mm,
the the diversity of the population. I mean, even as you go through Havana, if you drive through the countryside, you'll see really nice estates, and then you'll see not so great. And
mm.
that was one of the things that we noticed on the bus ride from Johannesburg to Cape Town. The
Yeah,
bus ride with no air conditioning.
yeah. Oh wow.
It was, oh yeah, it
Gee.
was. I mean, we were cautioned about
Mm,
the possibility of violence and whatnot before we left. And
mm,
I don't
mm,
know if that was overstated, but we didn't experience any. Uh, but arriving in Sun City reminded me a lot of arriving in Disneyland. I mean, it's an enclosed
mm-hmm.
place. It has a monorail like Disney does. Um, it was a beautiful place. I felt very safe
Yeah.
in Sun City, and the resort was beautiful. This was my first time being on a Canadian team, as you
Mm-hmm.
commented earlier on. I got into powerlifting very late in life. I was 61 when I did my first meet.
So you mean
I've
midlife,
never
not
been.
very late in life, midlife, please.
Yeah.
Midlife, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
The so, but the Canadian team was absolutely fabulous. The coaches I met them for the first time in person. I had met them virtually. Uh, the
Mm,
the
mm,
lady that I was another member from the team actually lives an hour from me, so we traveled together. She was gracious enough to take care of me
mm-hmm.
if need be, and so she knew a lot of them because that wasn't her first rodeo. This was mine, and it was it was a it was a wild experience. It was fun to be part of a team. It was fun to be representing Canada. Uh, it was and and one of the things that kept me or drove me to stay in powerlifting,
Mm-hmm.
because I tried both weightlifting, Olympic
Mm-hmm.
lifting, and powerlifting, and weightlifting is a very individual sport. I don't care if
Mm-hmm.
you're part of a team or not. Everybody is kind of pitted against one another. Powerlifting is a community, and
Yeah.
it's a giving community, and it's a welcoming community. And even when we were standing around the airport waiting for our bus to take us to Johannesburg or to Sun City, uh, people from around the world, we were all gathered in a spot, and we were chatting or trying to chat or trying to get over
Mm, mm,
language barriers, but it didn't matter. We were powerlifters, and I found that to be the case in Sun City too. I think aside from the lifting, and it turns out, and I'm not sure why, um, master lifters are put at the very beginning of
mm,
meets, and so I got to sit around for a good part of the week and sit out front and chat with people from around the world, and that was as much a value to me as competing and seeing what I can do against like-minded and
mm-hmm.
like physical people around from other countries. Is No, it was an incredible experience,
Sure.
and just reinforced why you should be in the powerlifting community. It's just you're supported, you're valued. It's such a great thing. And then, of course, meeting you there, and we chucked a lot of shit your way, which wasn't your fault, but I mean, things ran long, stuff didn't happen,
Yeah.
and you were sadly making yourself available, which
Yeah.
unfortunately fortunately meant that was the guy that we directed a lot of our inquiries to.
Yeah, but
Sometimes,
coming from Canadians, it's like the nicest thing in the world. You know, you're shouting at someone and making them feel like $1 million. I think that's very Canadian. So it was,
well, it was.
yeah, it was understandable. I mean, you guys had traveled a long way, and it was fun. You know, also I think hopefully you also got the impression South Africans, we take it very seriously when we get visitors, when we get guests, and we want to be accommodating and look after them and make them feel welcome and special. And I hope we gave that impression as well.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, like in the airport and stuff, it's always a bit of a frenzy.
Hmm.
But once we got to Sun City, it's there was no question that we were
Yeah,
welcome there, and there's no question that, like, I noticed in, like, even in Cuba, tourism is their big industry, but
yeah.
I've seen people smile to your face, and then when you turn your back, they're not so happy to see you there, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen that happen. I never experienced that in Sun City, so if it
Awesome.
happened, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not really part of the culture. I was chatting with one of the American lifters, Desmond Raymond. He won the Master One 105 equipped. And he was saying, as an African American, he's traveled all over the world. And it's the first time ever where, because if he's gone to other countries with African communities, they say, why do you call yourself African American? You're American. You're not. But coming into South Africa, they were like, "Welcome home, brother," and you're
yeah.
you're African first, and that's very much Ubuntu, which is that feeling of community and support. So I'm very happy to hear you say that. I wanted to ask you because you've made me think of something very interesting. Having tried Olympic lifting, and where Olympic lifting is far more of an individual sport, and where powerlifting is not, and I suspect one of the possibilities because of why that is, and I'd love your thoughts on this. With Olympic lifting, just like gymnastics, just like a lot of these other sports, you have the opportunity to go to the Olympics. With powerlifting, we don't. So we're not really chasing that. And if you take that mindset and that ethos in the sport back over decades, where it was about making the team, making the team, making the cut, where we don't have that in powerlifting, and maybe you think that could be a reason, or it's just that we're nicer people.
A little column A, a little column B.
Mm,
The meets that I attended were definitely not precursors to Olympics. These are
okay.
local meets. The people that are at them, uh, the one that I competed at, I went away saying, well, thankfully I beat the 11-year-olds at least.
Yeah.
So it didn't work out so great for me, but I didn't beat them by
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but but
But
no, what?
enough to swagger past them and go, ha.
Yeah, yeah. No, I the way they run the meet, it's again, they never lower the weight on the bar.
Mm,
So because my weight, I was new to it again 61, just trying it out. I was the lowest, aside from the 11-year-olds. I was the next lowest lifter. So
Yeah.
if I missed my lift, it wasn't the next person in line, it's me, because my weight is still lower
Oh,
than the next
wow.
person who needs to lift. So I've got 2 minutes to sit there and wait and build my strength back up and then come out and try again.
Mm-mm.
And
That's
that
not
I
cool.
didn't really,
That's not fair.
no, I didn't care for that.
Mm.
But a couple of months after that, my coach, one of my coaches, is a weightlifter,
Mm.
and he was competing, and he asked me to handle him, so I went with him. And it's cutthroat, is what the part that bugged me. Like, because of the fact that the lowest weight lifter goes first,
Mm.
if you're competing with somebody and you guys are very close in what your attempts are going to be, they can increase by 1 kilo. So we were sitting there next to my competitor was sitting next to another competitor, and
Mm-hmm.
they're very close in their weights. And I said to my guy that you're just new to this again. You used to do it, but you haven't done it for years. Let's just have a nice soft meet. Go do
Mm-mm-mm.
your attempts, go home. And he said, okay, I'm good for that. Then the kid next to him, him and his coach said, if we change our weight by this, we can force this other guy to go first, and that'll keep him off balance, because he's not expecting that. So they went out and changed the weight, and now my guy's got to go first when he thought he was
Right.
got
Going
4 or 5
second.
minutes. Now he's got
Yeah.
30 seconds, 60 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And my,
Wow.
yeah. So my guy looked at me and said, game on. So he said to me, he called me over. He said, wait until 31 seconds, Mark, and go and change mine to add
Mm.
1 more kilo. And this is the back and forth, and just trying to not beat somebody because
Gee
you're
whiz.
stronger than them, but
Mm-mm.
beat somebody because you're trying to put them off balance, right?
Gee
It's a
whiz. Okay.
psychological part of it. And that's the part that, if you're going to beat somebody because you're knocking him off balance, and that was the 100% what they were
Mm.
trying to do. It was nothing to do with I can, do this way. And so finally, after back and forth on this a couple of times, my guy looked at me and said, "You know what? Enough of this stuff." He said, "Add 5 kilos, add 10 kilos,"
Mm.
and because this my guy was strong, he was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
reserving because he was new. He could lift these bigger weights, so he got fed up with it. And he said, "Just bury this guy." So we
Mm.
buried him.
Excellent.
And but that's the part that it's that psychological component of I can maybe outlift you,
Mm.
but if I can't, I'm going to throw your psyche off balance
Gee whiz.
and screw. And that's the part that I experienced. Now, whether that's pervasive in the sport, I don't know. But it was
Mm-mm.
enough for me to say I don't need that in my life. But then that was in September of 2019. In
Mm-hmm.
November of 2019, I did a powerlifting meet, and it's like I walked in and they checked my gear and they said, "Oh no, you can't use this, you can't use that." And I thought, "Oh my God, what the heck?" And the president of the Nova Scotia Powerlifting looked at me and said, somebody will loan you some gear."
Yeah.
It's like in September they would have stolen my gear, and
Yeah.
in November powerlifters are saying, "Oh, don't worry about it. Somebody will loan you something. Don't."
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
so true.
you know, yeah, it really was. And I did better than I thought I was going to do, and but but it was that experience of
Mm.
that camaraderie. I mean, I had re-entered physical fitness through CrossFit when
Mm-hmm.
I was 59, and I did CrossFit for 3 or 4 years. And there's a big camaraderie in CrossFit. There's support. I mean, here I am working out next to people who are lifting 3 times my weight, and they're ecstatic for me when I move up one weight,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
know, as as they are when somebody does something tremendous. Uh, and I found that same camaraderie in powerlifting. And like I said, just the fact that we're sitting in an airport and people from around the world who you've never met in your life
Yep.
are coming in, and you're shaking their hand, you're saying hello, and we're talking about stuff,
Yeah.
right? And it's just a great community. But so yeah, 60 in 2019, when I was 61, is when I did my first meet. And It's
Okay.
uh, it's it's been a few years now.
That, I mean, that's absolutely phenomenal. And another point on that, I think with powerlifting, what I've seen and what I've noticed is in a lot of the conversations that I've had, powerlifters want their opponents to be at their very best, at their peak on the platform. Because if I can't beat you at your best, then what's the point? You know, they don't want to break people. They don't want
Yeah,
to psych out their opponents. You know, as you said, like I've seen guys swapping socks, deadlift socks
yeah,
between, you know, with the guys
yeah.
competing against one another as singlets. You know, you're lending. So oh, I'm sorry, it's so sweaty. I've been drying it in the sun for you. No, don't worry about it. Like it's really they want you. We want everyone on the platform. And I think it's very very special.
It really is, and that's truly the experience that I've had.
Mm,
Like if somebody's experiencing a problem with their gear, there's no less than one or two people that are like overhearing and saying, "Hey,
mm,
you know, I
yeah,
compete after you. Use my belt, use my whatever. Like, what size are your shoes?" It's not a
yeah.
big one for me. I got small feet, so it's more the girls want to borrow my shoes than the men. But
It's a very good technique. I'm
no,
going to
it's
remember that, by the way.
yeah, yeah,
Hello, ladies.
it's yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I so I don't know what, like I said, aside from the camaraderie and the ability, like to as you continue to train and my opening at the Canadian Easterns
Mm,
um, that took place last September. Now that was so September 2025. In November of 2019 was my first meet. My opening weights, my opening attempts in September of 2025 were my my PRs from 2019,
wow.
right? So
Okay, that's very
and
cool.
I've had surgeons and doctors tell me that when you get to 60, you don't build muscle as fast, and
Mm,
you
mm,
really shouldn't lower your expectations, right? You're not gonna do this. Well, I, I was ecstatic in 2019 to pull a 352 pound. Now I deal in
mm,
pounds
mm.
because I
Yeah, yeah.
work out in a CrossFit gym, um, and in deadlift, and my opening deadlift was 370, I think, in at Easterns. So
Oh,
or
wow.
352. It was the same, yeah,
Sure.
352. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I actually PR'd at 400 or 182.5 kilos,
Sure.
402 pounds. So I finally broke the 400 pound, or the
Mm, mm.
182 and a half kilo that I've been fighting for the last year and a half. I wanted to do it in South Africa,
And
but
got to do
it
this.
didn't it didn't happen.
Sorry, I hope that's not too
Yeah,
loud, but oh, fantastic, man. Yeah.
yeah. But I actually in 2023
Mm.
started running my own meet here in town in
Okay.
Nova Scotia. I run a 100% novice meet.
Mm.
The criteria is you're not allowed to have competed in a sanctioned meet, and so because I remember the first time that I competed, I felt like I didn't, that I'm being awkward and I don't know
Mm.
what I'm doing. And people around me are probably looking at me and wondering, what the hell is this guy doing here? Now I know that
They're looking at you and
that's not
wondering
the
how can
case.
they yeah, they're wondering how can they help? Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
But that wasn't my mindset going in. So I wanted everybody to be comfortable at my meet. So 100% novice, nobody has
Hmm.
done it before. So everybody that you look around and see is doing something, they're doing it the same way you are. They just don't know what they're doing. And it was the first time I ran it. I ran 2 sessions. It was a very long day. The second year I
Hmm.
ran it, somebody else ran one a month before mine, so I lost. I had trouble getting people, so I ran a single session. But I had 30 athletes. I had 60 guest chairs set up, and people were lined on the walls. It was the
Wow.
electricity in the room, and the volume was just incredible, because these are all people who've never done it before. So their
Mm, mm.
families are coming, and I did it at the CrossFit gym that I work out at. And so um, it's just so fantastic to see people come out who have never tried themselves in a
Mhm.
competition, tried
Mhm.
to see what they can do against others in their same weight and age group, uh, and seeing the expressions on their faces when they PR, when they hit those numbers, you know what that adrenaline does. You're a lifter. Um, of over the two, I know I missed doing it last year because of my illness and because of
Mm-hmm.
Article 14 in the
Mm-hmm.
IPF
Yeah,
that caused some
your coach.
confusion.
Mm.
So I didn't do it. But of the 72 athletes that I've introduced or that were introduced to the sport in my 2 years of doing this, over 35 have gone on to do multiple meets. I saw 5 of them at nationals and 2 at international meets.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it's clearly something that I've had people chase me down when I go work at meets. I took the referees course, so now
Mm-hmm.
I'm reffing, and people come up to me and say, "You run that meet in Bridgewater, that novice meet. Are you going to do it? I've got 4 people that work out of my gym that I
Hey,
want to bring." And
phenomenal.
so yeah, it is. So we're going to do it again,
Okay.
April
Okay.
11th, and it's going to be fun.
So
It's
I have to
expensive.
find,
It's going to be fun.
yeah, I have to find a way to get over there to come and live stream it. So,
I'm looking for
right?
somebody now.
Yeah,
Sent a memo out to the
yeah,
president of Nova Scotia Powerlifting saying I need somebody to take pictures and live stream.
yeah. We can do it. Right. I'm jumping on. I'm jumping on Google. I'll message my.
Yeah,
Actually, I found a travel agent, Flores. He's phenomenal. He does everything. Say right, two to Nova Scotia, please.
yeah,
That'll be very, very cool. That'll be amazing.
yeah.
That's yeah. What? So, what was the genesis of that idea?
It was it was I like I said I it's been a while, but I wanted to find a way to introduce people to the sport
Mm-hmm.
in a comfortable environment and and give and when I do my meets, I run them 100% like a sanctioned meet, with the
Mm-hmm.
exception of equipment check. So all
Mm-hmm.
I say to them is you know you don't have to go and buy new gear. I don't care what belts you wear. I don't care,
Mm-hmm.
so long as it's not equipped. I don't, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if it's equipped, you know it's equipped. So don't show up wearing that. But I don't care what shorts you wear. Don't wear a hat. You know, so they don't have to go and spend thousands of dollars on gear. They
Yeah,
wear what you wear in the
phenomenal.
gym. And um, we do the weight because you know, we gotta compare them. But I have 3 refs, and the first year I had one regular, a real ref, and then two kids from the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And she met with them again. This is the community. This referee, who I've just met for the first time, she says, "Oh, I'll train them." So she took them aside and she met with them, and then she did my athlete intro. So the briefing,
Mm-hmm.
and she got all the athletes and said, "You guys have never done this before, so here's what we're looking for. Your butt's got to stay on the bench. You're this, you're that. You when you squat, I want to see your legs come down, and listen to the commands." And we held them to these standards. We didn't let them get away. Like, you know, they're new. You know, maybe you should. They didn't go deep enough, but they're new. No, no,
Yep.
no way. You didn't go deep enough. You didn't go deep enough, and we told them why. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I
You
made
here
a
to
point.
lift
There's
in
no
the
sense.
comp and have the
Yeah,
real experience. Yeah, that's so cool.
exactly. And but that's we went one step further, and I was like I was roaming around, and you know what it's like being
Mm-hmm.
a director, and I would go to their coach or go to their handler and say, okay, they didn't get that because they needed to go an extra inch down, they weren't quite
Mm-hmm.
low enough, or they lifted their butt off this, or they did that. It's because it's an educational experience. This is and right after my very first one in 2023, it was a month later, was the Nova Scotia Provincials, and there was 7 people from my meet who were actually, they used my meet as a learning
Wow.
experience. And they came up to me after, 2 or 3 of them and said, "Oh my God, I'm so thankful that I did yours, because I knew exactly what to do. I knew that I had to wait, and somebody would, you know, the director would send me out. I knew that I had 60 seconds to get my attempts in. I knew that I could change my deadlift, you know, at the end." And they felt so much more comfort. So for them, it allowed them to excel and maybe hit those PRs because I took away that nervous, well, not the nervousness, but I took
Mm.
away that unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And as as a consequence now, Nova Scotia has decided that you can't compete in provincials unless you do a regular meet because they're trying to overcome a lot of this. I've seen that
Mm-hmm.
provincials people jump commands and not bring their attempts back in 60 seconds. So
Yeah.
I
We,
you know
we see
I
that
think
at
it was
national
just
sometimes.
yeah. But you ask what was the genesis of it? It was
Yeah,
just I thought this
sure.
would be a great way to let people get an introduction, and it really it turned out really well. So
That's
yeah,
incredible.
I'm looking forward to getting the 2026. I've got enough recognition now that I've got a couple of financial supporters,
Mm-hmm.
which really helps because expenses, but because I have to rent all the drapery and get the
Mm-hmm.
medals, and you know what it's like. There's medals
Yeah.
for everybody,
Yep.
and and T-shirts and all that stuff. Like just for a meet with 30 people, my budget is $3,600,
Yeah, I can
uh,
well imagine that.
and that has to be funded by the athletes. Is I
Mm,
first year I ran it, I lost $500 of my own
mm,
money.
sure.
Second year I broke even because my
Mm,
referees gave me the money back because I pay my refs, right? I don't expect
yeah,
that they're
yeah,
from out of town. I don't expect you to drive an hour, give up a day of your life uh, for nothing. But as it turns out, because again, powerlifting community, they said no, we're not taking your money, right? And
sure.
they gave me back the envelope. Uh, so this year I have I'm because of Article 14,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not allowed to reference the Canadian Powerlifting, IPF, Nova Scotia Powerlifting. So this is a personal novice meet.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
I have three referees who have asked to be part of it, but they can't wear their gear, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to be in. I'm thinking of
Listen,
I'm thinking
that's
of
not a
getting some.
necessarily bad thing for a ref.
No,
Yeah.
no, I know they do. I was thinking of getting T-shirts made up that look like they're wearing the blue jacket with
Yes,
the
that's
tie, but
brilliant.
I think
Like we used
I
to have in
think
the 70s and the 80s with the bow tie, the
yeah,
tuxedo.
that's the
Yes,
one. Yeah,
please. That's brilliant.
but
That's
yeah,
genius.
it's
Yeah.
it really is. It's been fun because after the second year, I had people reach
Mm,
out to me and say, "Look, I heard about your meet. I'd like to be part. Can I volunteer? I can I judge? Can I? I always need like I
mm,
had a kid compete last year or 2024 um, open
mm-hmm.
120 open, and he was lifting over 600 deadlift and doing a
Wow.
500 squat. And so big I need big guys behind him, right?
Mm,
And
mm.
so I always have been very fortunate to have at least one volunteer who's in that weight category. Uh, that young fellow just qualified for Canadian nationals.
Oh, wow. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
That's, and
yeah.
I have to tell you, this means, sorry to interrupt, it means a lot to me because, being sober for 19 years, working with addicts in recovery, introducing them to powerlifting, we have no idea sometimes how much the sport actually means to people and their mental health and their well-being, their sense of purpose, their sense of self-worth, the fact that they can then prove to themselves that they can build towards something and lose that sense of immediate gratification, that the reward is in the progress. So it's absolutely amazing, Charlie. I have to commend you on that. You got to do another one of these. There you go. And a clap of thunder. It's absolutely, because I always wanted to be a 1970s DJ, but yeah. So that's absolutely amazing. And I'm serious when I say this, because I get crazy ideas and then I work on them and they somehow happen. I mean, like we're off to Tunisia, so I'm gonna work on the costings on the plane and see what I can do there. We got
Yeah.
to come and visit.
I can tell you what my
Yeah.
costing
Mm.
was to come over and see you, and you're
Terrifying.
going to need some.
Yeah.
Yes, it really was. I think it was at 3,700 or
Yeah.
$4,000 in airfare.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
100%.
that trip, and that's the other thing with
Mm.
powerlifting is sadly it's a self-funded
Yeah.
sport. Um, so as much as I love being part of Team Canada, and going to the nationals and this stuff, it has to come out of my pocket. I mean, that trip
Mm-hmm.
to South Africa to be on the Canadian team set me back over $7,000,
Yeah.
and so that's the one thing that's going to hold me back from competing, is like just to go to nationals, which is in Newfoundland, which is the next province over
Mm-hmm.
from us. And, the flight's going to be 750. The hotel is going to be another five, six
Mm.
hundred. The meat fees are what they are. The food's is going to be a couple $1,000s, and uh, it would be nice if there was some support, but because we're not a Olympic
Mm.
sport, there's not a lot of money.
I think,
But yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah. So sorry to interrupt again. That I'm making a habit of this. Right. This is why we do what we do with this, because the athletes deserve the exposure and the opportunity, and I hope through over the last couple of years of doing this that there is someone's going to watch this and step up, and we can say, all right, well, let's get some additional sponsorship for the meet, for your competition, for travel, and these kind of things. And I genuinely believe that with enough exposure, there will be those connections that are built where someone with a medium-sized business says, I can relate. We're going to help with that a little bit. And because it really, we in the early stages of the sport still, and it's something that really needs to happen. I mean, if you think, just give us the money from one football player or a soccer player's weekly salary, and we can do a
yeah,
lot of funding and change a lot of lives with this. So that's,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
really the thing. Yeah, I agree with you completely. It's a huge hindrance to experience, and then also that experience that you, as the athlete and as the team, bring back and share within your communities. And someone might, like, geez, I never thought of that, and try the sport, and it changes their life.
yeah. And then, sadly, in
Mm.
many of the communities, like my community, not long after I returned, and I finished third in the Commonwealth, seventh in the world for a person who was at the time 66.
Even got your whistle now. There we go.
Yeah, at 66 years old, I
Yeah.
was I went to a town meeting, at the town council meeting, because I'm
Mm.
also a volunteer. I'm on the board of directors of a couple of, actually, it's on the board of directors of a preschool and of a seniors group, so cradle to
Okay.
grave type thing. But we were at the meeting because of some expansions that we're doing, and somebody, one of the counselors, made a comment and saw mentioned the athletic achievements of some of the kids and the younger
Mm.
adults within the community. And he actually is part of the gym that I train in, so he knows who I am. I
Mm.
mean,
Mm.
it's a small town, and he's saying all these things, and he's looking right at me and doesn't say anything about the fact that, you know in
Wow.
our midst we have somebody who just competed for Team Canada.
Mm.
And so I find there's not a lot of celebration at times for those of us in the masters, in the
Mm.
upper
Mm.
masters, masters one, master two. They're still kids,
Yeah, no,
50-year
100%.
old.
I mean, no, I mean, chatting, seeing some of the guys competing, I was like, aren't you guys juniors? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
100%.
I am
Yeah.
I am amazed at the power of of our competitors, our people, our masters,
Mm.
ones, twos, threes, fours. I mean, in South Africa, that gentleman, that master four from Australia,
Dan. Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
swear,
Oh, yep.
I think they found him in a farmer's field somewheres, and here he is competing
Yeah.
competing at Worlds.
Hey,
But
he's a legend.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
oh, it
think,
was incredible.
yeah, and we had sort of Mike Rodriguez, Mike winning Master 3 best lifter, and John Trani from he's Denmark, but Italian American living in Denmark, Master 4. And like, you just see the shape that these guys are in and the condition that they're in, and it's just, they're vital and full of energy and having fun. And it's, yeah, I think over the age of, I think when you hit 49, masters powerlifting should become compulsory. And if you want
It's
your social security grant in, you need to lift. We need to see 3
well,
competitions.
it's it's interesting that you mentioned that
Yeah.
because I have a very good friend who used to powerlift when he was younger.
Mm,
He's 70 now, and he slipped in his washroom and fell and broke a hip.
mm,
Not long after
sure.
that, I slipped getting out of bed and smacked down on the floor. And I stood up and said, "Well, gee, I reset my SI. That feels so much better." Right? You know, big difference. And one of my friends, excuse me,
No, but it's so true. It's so true. Yeah.
well, one of my friends, dear friends at the gym, does CrossFit, and
Mm,
he's a few years. I think he's 6 years younger than me. Uh, yeah, he just turned 60, so he's 7 years younger than me. And he said he fell 5 times last winter in his yard,
mm,
slipping on the ice, slipping on the snow. And he said, Charlie, if I was not doing CrossFit, if I was not exercising, any one of those would have taken me out.
yeah. That's
Right.
it.
So 100%, you're in there. I go to the gym at the moment 5 times a week. I go
Mm.
in at 5:30 in the morning. If I'm if I'm not being lazy and taking extra long powerlifting breaks, I can usually get through my workout in about an hour and 15 minutes, but often it
So
takes
you
an
mean
hour and a
the
half.
word being sociable, I think is the word. It's not extra
Yeah,
long break.
that's
Sociable.
yeah, sociable. Yeah. And so, but it's I mean, I like to be self-sufficient, and powerlifting contributes to that, right? I
Mm,
mean,
mm.
if I need to fix my roof, I throw the ladder up, I climb up on my roof, and I fix my roof.
Yeah.
You know, if I want to put cement blocks down and make a patio, I put cement blocks down. They're 80 pounds a piece. You move them
Yeah.
around, right?
Yeah.
That's the offset of powerlifting. Uh, and it's fun to watch the neighbors when they see me go over and grab this 80-pound block and just
Yeah.
carry it over and set it down, and
Yeah.
they're watching. They say, surely he's
Yeah.
not going to. Oh shit, he did it again,
Yeah.
right?
When the 30-year-olds are coming over, can you help us move our washer?
Yeah, that actually
Absolutely.
has happened.
Yeah.
The neighbor across the street, they had to move their dryer, and they said that we
Yeah.
can't get it up the stairs, so they asked if I'd come over and
Yeah.
lift it up
There we
for them.
go.
So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's phenomenal, Charlie. I love that. Absolutely love that. What does the future hold? What are you looking forward to in 2026? And we touched a little bit on Commonwealth, but what's the future
So
holding?
progress is what I'm after.
Hmm.
A couple of years back, I said to my coach, I said, he said, what do we do? And I said, well, I've come up with a plan. It's called the Blue Plate Special. The blue plates, the 45 pounders, are the biggest
Hmm.
ones that we have in this gym. I want to do I want to do two blues on bench, 3 blues on squat, and 4 blues on dead.
Sure. Okay. Not
Right?
messing
So
around
that's
here. Yeah.
225, 315, and 405.
Hmm.
Well, I did 315 squat a couple of years ago. No issues. Matter of fact, I PR'd my squat at Easterns as well. I did a 352. I didn't get credit for it because I didn't quite get depth, but I
Mm-hmm.
stood it up, so I'm claiming
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Uh,
100%.
and and the 182.5 uh, deadlift is actually not. It's 402.5. It's not 405, which is not full 4 blues. So I've still got to hit 184
Hmm.
and a half. So I'm aiming now for the 2 blue bench. I've got my bench. I've had in 2022, I had a 15 mil full thickness tear on my
Sure.
left rotator. So I had major
Mm-hmm.
surgery, and I'm still recovering from that. Excuse me.
I was going to say
So
you're
my bench, the
Canadian,
big,
and that's not Tim Horton. What's going on
it
here?
it is Tim.
Oh, it is. So, okay, there we go. I didn't. I was expecting a red cup. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Christmas now.
the Christmas cup. Okay,
So
yeah.
so yeah, the future is keep. I mean, last year I finally. It took me a year and a couple that
Mm,
I finally beat the 400-pound deadlift that I was chasing,
wow.
and I beat. And remember, I said in excuse me,
No, no, no problem. Joe, do you need to grab some water or?
yeah, just my coffee.
Okay, cool.
I said in
Mm,
2019 my deadlift was 352.
mm-hmm.
I
Sure.
did a 352 squat. I did a 352 squat at Easterns. So the year is whether I compete or not
Mm,
is not a big concern to me. I personally want to see my four blues, and then I want to move past that.
100%. That's very cool. I think, and going back to your competition, it's very cool to be able to say that if there's any of the lifters that have competed, or coaches, or parents, or anyone that's involved that you think would be cool for us to chat to on the podcast, we'd love to do that. They don't have to be competing at national level or international level. It's just like, what was that experience like for you? We'd really like that. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's so important. It's just like find the community, find the friends, find the sport, the lifting, and all of these wonderful things that it brings.
yeah,
That's really cool. So
absolutely,
awesome.
absolutely.
And I'm going to say this, that if I can pull it off and put it together, and we are able to come out and do the streaming and the photos, I'm reaching out to all of the Team Canada guys who gave me a hard time in 2024, and they got to come through and support. And then maybe we could have a guest lifting division with them. So
Well, one of them is going to be one of them that was there with us in that you met, Steve
yeah,
Cormier.
yeah,
He's
legend.
going to be one of my referees in April,
Oh,
so he will be there. So,
fantastic.
man, it would be tremendous if you showed up.
Yeah,
That would just make that would make it all the more special,
sure.
and
Yeah.
then more special for the people that are there that's competing. That like I don't like to single out the lifters
Mm,
that come to help me, but I so want to, and I may just let people know that in this room, there's 5 people that have competed for Team Canada. There's
mm,
4 people
mm,
that have, this and that. Just, just to let them know that you're you're in a community. You're in
yeah.
a like these people show up of their own time and just give back, and they just love doing it. I mean, like say, Bridgewater, Nova Scotia is where I live.
Mm-hmm.
We're an hour south of Halifax,
Okay.
and most everybody, aside from me, I'm the only competitor, powerlifting competitor in my town. The
Mm,
next closest competitor lives an hour away, and many of them, so they get in their cars and they drive an hour to come down and give
mm-hmm.
their time. And
Sure.
so yeah, but yeah, it would be incredible if you showed up. That would be that would be something. We'd have a lot of fun. We'd make
Yeah.
sure you're well taken care of while you're here.
Thank you. No, 100%. I think that's something uh, to really. I'm like I'm starting the ball rolling and figure out like how we can make it work. I want to bring out one of my streaming guys if we can as well, and like run the stream. I'll do photos, that type of stuff. Maybe something that's kind of fun that we could bring out. With the lifters that come through from Team Canada, you can almost have an adopt a coach, where if you're a lifter without a coach, you can
Yeah.
have like you can go up and adopt one of the Canadian
One of the
athletes or
Canadian lifters, yeah.
lifters as your would you be my coach today kind of thing, and
Yeah,
have a little bit of fun. So where it's not the
yeah,
other way around, where they're feeling like, hey, can I coach you? You might feel a little bit awkward, but where no, you got to go over and adopt a coach. I think that would be a lot of fun.
yeah,
But oh,
that would
Joe,
be fun.
all right. So leave that to me. I'm going to work on it and see if we can make that happen. I know chatting with Pam, also she's very passionate about master lifting and getting the master lifters exposed. And I know there's stuff that we're looking at doing together in the new year, and there's just an amazing passion within Team Canada. And I think with one of the reasons maybe they make the masters lift first is that they know then they will be at the venue supporting the lifting and watching the lifting,
Yeah,
perhaps more than the younger lifters who might just be in and out. Not saying that happens, but just from what I've seen, it's always a lot of the masters. And the Australian gentleman from the farming field that you mentioned, Rick, I mean, he was there in the middle, like he was there with everyone and cheering and screaming and making a noise.
yeah,
So absolutely, that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. So, all right, leave
yeah,
that. Thank you for bringing that up. So, I've got to look for around about mid-April, and provided they start if they let South Africans in, I don't know. We got the G20 on at the moment, so if that goes okay, then it might not
yeah,
be a problem. So,
yeah,
absolutely, for no. Very, very cool. Charlie, I want to say thank you so much for your time. I know usually the Instagram only gives us about an hour, so we're coming up on about 55 minutes. And I know we've taken up a lot of your time, but I'm really, really grateful for that. And it's been very special to catch up as well. and there's a lot
Yes,
we still want
indeed.
to chat about. So if we can do this again when I'm back from Tunisia, I'd really appreciate
I live vicariously through you, sir.
it. You're too kind. Well,
It was great, Nick.
yeah.
Thanks for the invitation.
No, it was very special. Thank you so much. I really, I'm gonna end the live stream now, and then I'll just chat to you a little bit off air after that. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Charlie. All right, great. Thank you for everyone who watched, and get in touch with your Instagram handle.
Mine is
Yep.
Papa Charlie Lee.
Okay. I,
PAPA Charlie Lee.
and I'll put it into the comments. Get in touch if you're in Canada. You have, let's get some support for this competition. And Tim Horton, you've been advertised on the show. I think you need to sponsor that.
Yeah.
They could call it the Tim Horton Cup. There we go. Yeah, you got a
Yeah.
tenacious South African here with a new
Yeah.
bee in his bonnet. So I look forward to it. All right. Thank you very much. I'll end it and I'll chat to you quickly now. Thank you, Charlie.
All right. Cool.
Ciao. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye. And